Hi guys, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the full review for this Asus ROG Phone 3, and I have been actually using this as my primary smartphone for the last 12 days now, and I'll share my experience between pros and cons. And before we proceed, again, here are the quick specs. It is having a 6.59-inch Full HD AMOLED screen with 144Hz display. It is having Gorilla Glass 6. It's powered by the Snapdragon 865 Plus processor. Comes in 8 or 12 gigabytes of RAM, and other specs are on the screen for your reference. And definitely I have to say this is one of the most powerful Android smartphones that's officially available as of now in India. And in India it comes in two variants. One is coming with 8 gigabytes of RAM, that comes with 128 gigabytes of storage, and that is the one on which I did my review. There is also one more variant that will come with 12 gigabytes of RAM, and that will have 256 gigabytes of storage. In my unboxing video I had to use the international variant that will come with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that has 512 gigabytes of storage, but that won't be sold in India. And this is actually sold in India via Flipkart, so I'll leave the link in the description. So let's break it down between the pros and cons. What do I feel about this device? And let's start with the pros. And the first thing that I noticed on this one is now Asus went with a 6.59-inch AMOLED screen, and it's a good AMOLED screen that they are using. And as you can see, okay, I by mistake hit the brightness. And the thing is that if you keep this on auto brightness like this, outdoors actually this panel is pretty bright. It can go about 650 nits, but if you keep it on auto brightness, sometimes when you're outdoors, it actually boosts up the brightness to about 900 to about 1000 nits temporarily. So it's easily visible outdoors also. And the quality of the panel is actually really good. And this is one of the first phones in the world to come with 144 Hz display. We have seen earlier 90, 120, and this has 44 Hz. Let me actually show you. And if I go to display over here, as you can see, refresh rate, I'm keeping it on 60 because my camera has an issue, but you can go all the way to 144 like this if you want. And normally I would say just keep it on auto. But as of now, as I told you, my camera flickers if I go higher. So you can go up to 144 Hz. And I did a lot of my testing with this 144 Hz. And I would say everything is way smoother when it's on 144 Hz. And the battery life hit was not that much. I thought the battery hit would be huge. I would say it reduces the battery life about 30-40 minutes SOT, not more than that. So again, it's a good thing. But again, not a lot of games actually support that high refresh rate. There are some bunch of games that support 120 Hz, but I'll talk about the gaming later on. Let's move to the next thing. And it also has Gorilla Glass on front and back. And moving to the processor, here we are having the fastest processor that you can get for Android phones right now. That's the Snapdragon 865 Plus, but Asus has sort of overclocked it to 3.1 gigahertz. So that makes it the fastest. And in benchmarks, if you compare it with other Android phones, this comes at the top. Also the RAM is DDR5 RAM, hence everything is actually very responsive. That's what you expect with this phone. So everything is very fluid. And in comes to UI, it's almost stock Android that you're getting, not a lot of bloatware, hardly any bloatware. That was a big surprise because these days many brands are adding bloatware in their phones. That was not the case. The only extra app that I would say that you get with this phone would be this Armory Crate. And this is because it's a gaming centric phone, so you can add your games over here. I did that, as you can see. So you can customize and stuff because it's a gaming centric phone. But apart from that, you don't get any bloatware. And it also has this X mode, changes the icons and all those things, optimizes for gaming. But apart from that, no bloatware that I found on this one. And the UI is very close to stock Android, and you can, this is just a gaming theme. You can put the regular theme and it feels like a stock Android smartphone. Now, another thing that I really liked on this phone, and this was even for the ROG Phone 2, and that is the speakers. This one has that dedicated speakers at the top and bottom, and the front firing speakers, and I have to say one of the loudest in terms of speakers. And because it's front firing, you do get that huge stereo separation also. To give you an idea, let's just do a comparison. This is the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus smartphone, and this also has stereo speakers, and I feel this one also has some very good speakers. So let's do one thing. Let's just try to play the same audio track. Let's try to play this, beat this competition on both the phones, and see, I'll keep the volume to maximum. This is the S20 Plus, and let it continue. So that was with the S20 Plus, stereo speakers. Now let's test the same with this one also, and I'm just going to increase the volume. Let's maximize it. I don't know how well this microphone is able to capture it, but the stereo separation is definitely a lot more. It's even louder, and we also have a slight bass with the speaker. So in terms of speakers, I would say very good. Also, some of you have asked me about how is the haptic feedback. The haptic feedback is also very good, and because of this very loud speakers and that stereo separation, I had a great time watching a lot of multimedia content also. For example, I watched a couple of shows and even movies on Netflix via this, and the experience was very good. So for general consumption, I would say it is very good, and it feels like you don't need an external Bluetooth speaker when you're actually using this phone. It's that good. Also, I did take some calls via the speaker phone, and while even using the speaker phone, it is very loud, so you don't have to worry. So let's now talk about the call quality and network reception. Here in Hyderabad, guys, I have tested this one with Airtel as well as Jio. As you can see, both my SIMs are there. That VoLTE is actually showing that is actually my Airtel SIM, and the second one, as you can see, we have that Wi-Fi icon underneath. That's my Jio SIM. And regarding again, it supports VoLTE, but regarding Wi-Fi calling, I noticed as of now Wi-Fi calling is only enabled on Jio, whereas it's not coming on Airtel. And I checked with the Asus team. They said that they'll be rolling out one more OTA update that will even bring Wi-Fi calling with Airtel later on. But in terms of network reception, here I would say the network reception was actually really good on this smartphone. And even with Airtel, where in my office I have not that great signal, I did not have a problem. I could take calls sitting in my main cabin. So the network reception was very good, and also the earpiece that we have on this one is very good. So in terms of call quality and reception, I do not have any issues. Also, I feel in terms of noise cancellation, it does a very good job. It actually has 4 different mics all over the phone. So when I was taking calls also, the calls were very good. I feel it does a good job in terms of noise cancellation. Now moving to one more thing is regarding battery, and here I would say it has a massive battery, a 6000 milliamp hour battery, and as expected, the battery life is amazing on this smartphone. I would say if you do just light gaming every day, half an hour or just about an hour or so, you can expect easily about 1.5 to almost 2 days of battery life. And if you don't do gaming, if you're going to use it like a normal smartphone, then expect easily about over 2 days of battery life. In terms of screen on time, I would say even when I was gaming, I was trying to drain its battery, did gaming with Call of Duty quite a bit for continuously for 2 hours, and did my regular stuff. Then also I got a battery life of about 9.5 hours. And as you can see with some of the battery stats, the battery life is excellent. Also, the idle drain is very low on this one. Another thing that I noticed is that, again, as it's an AMOLED screen, I just disabled the always on, but you also have the always on option on this one. But apart from that, we also have a physical LED notification light over here. For example, if you get SMS, etc., this actually glows. So I like that we still have that. Always on is there, but there is a bug, I would say. Always on, if you just type it, you can enable it. Always on, I think so it was in display if I search. Always on panel, yeah, here it is, and you can enable this one, and you can even change the clock style and all those things. For example, it has multiple over here. Let's just try this one for the heck of it. And now if I go over here, close it, we'll get that. But the thing is that this always on is always there. At night we don't have an option to auto shut it off. So That's what it is, but that option is there. Now moving to another thing, that is gaming. This is a gaming centric smartphone, no doubt about it. And we also have 8 triggers over here and here, and you can actually map it like a console. Now with 8 triggers 3, what Asus has done is, like with 8 triggers 2, you can only map left and right, but here with the left and right you can map 2 tasks. For example, like gaming consoles, what we have X and Y, you can map. So you actually can map 4 buttons over here, and this is great for gaming. And also there was one more new thing that they have added, motion. If you just flick the phone while gaming, you can also map it to that. So I did play quite a bit of Call of Duty on this one, and I would say because of this 8 triggers, I had an undue advantage. The left trigger, I just kept it for zoom, and the right was for firing, and just because of that I could get the kills very easily. So definitely I would say if you're doing gaming, it works very well. I also mapped this gesture for reloading, but yeah, you can map it to anything, but I did this one for reloading. I have to get used to that, but yeah, as you see, you get some undue advantage, I feel, when you are gaming with this one. And as it's one of the most powerful Android phone, you can keep the graphics settings, everything to the high, and then also you won't have any problems. Also, you can do continuous gaming on this one for extended periods of time, because yes, the backs get slightly warm after about 40-45 minutes of continuous gaming, but that's what you should expect. But nevertheless, I would say in terms of gaming, I had one of the best experience. And if you're sort of a hardcore gamer, then yes, this is a smartphone for you. And the big advantage is that because of those 8 triggers, especially in those FPS games like PUBG or Call of Duty, you get that undue advantage. And also, as I told you, the stereo speakers are so good that when enemies are coming from this side or that side, you get to know it without even wearing the headset. So that's regarding the gaming part of the smartphone. Now let's talk about the cameras. If you move towards the back, we have a triple camera setup. The main camera is a 64 megapixel Sony IMX 686. Then we have a 13 megapixel, that's ultra wide, and we have a new camera, and this is a 5 megapixel for macro, and the front facing is actually 24 megapixel. And as you can see, here are some of the samples that I took with this one, and definitely if I compare it with the ROG Phone 2, the camera has improved, I would say. And also in indoor lighting conditions, it has improved quite a bit. But again, if I compare it with some of the flagships like the Samsung flagships or the iPhone, if I give them a rating of A+, then I would give a rating of A to its camera. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. But as this does not have optical image stabilization, especially in low lighting areas, I feel it does struggle a little bit. Though it has that night mode, but I felt it could have been better. So camera definitely has improved quite a bit. The rear facing cameras, particularly I would say in indoor conditions, improved quite a bit. And even the front facing camera has improved. But again, I won't say this is the best camera smartphones. If you're looking for that, go with the high-end Samsungs or even the iPhones. Now let's move to some of the cons that I have with this one. And the first con that I have is that I don't know why Asus actually removed the 3.5mm headphone jack from this smartphone. So that is something that I missed. Yes, they give a dongle in the box, so you can use that, but I missed the fact the physical 3.5mm headphone jack is now missing on this one. Next thing is the sheer weight of the smartphone. This smartphone actually weighs 239 grams. So it's definitely heavy phone because of that powerful speakers and that 6000 milliamp hour battery. So again, if you don't like heavy phones, then you might not like it. To give you an idea, I would say if you are okay with the iPhone 11 Max series, that big one, then you might be okay with that. But if you always felt that the iPhone Max series were too heavy for you, then you will not like this smartphone. I got used to this weight after about 3-4 days of usage, but definitely it's on the higher side. Now, if I talk about another thing, is that this smartphone does not have any IP protection, that is water resistance or anything that are generally found in most other flagships. So that is also something you have to note. And lastly, again, we don't even have wireless charging on these smartphones. So these were the broad cons that I've noticed with this smartphone. Apart from that, I would say it's a good smartphone, and certainly one of the fastest Android smartphones out there. And also that speakers are excellent for consuming multimedia content. As I told you, it's very, very loud, one of the loudest that I have seen. And also the battery life, as I told you, is really, really good on this smartphone. Average user, normal users will get about 1.5, easily about 2 days worth of battery life on this one. Oh, some of you have asked me about the charging. We do get a 30-watt fast charger in the box, and I would say in charging, it was about 9% when I kept it on charge, and it charged completely in about 1 hour 21 minutes. So expect about 1 hour 25 minutes to charge it completely. But the first 50% charge is actually done very quickly, just about 31 minutes or so, like that. So again, yes, it does have that quick charging. Unfortunately, this time at least they are bundling that 30-watt charger in the box. So certainly a very good smartphone, I would say. If you're okay with the weight, I would say it's a very good smartphone, but again, it's not without its flaws, as I have mentioned. Anyways, guys, that was my review of this Asus ROG Phone 3. What do you guys think about the same? Do let me know in the comment section below. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.